What's up, y'all? Welcome to my YouTube channel, my first video. What's up? I'm Alysa Bradshaw, your non-stop, one-shop yoga instructor. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry for that. So first video, I wanted to obviously start doing yoga videos. So today we're going to do a simple back to the basics yoga class for those of you who are straight beginners starting yoga. This will be absolutely perfect for you. And for those of us who have been doing this for years and need to get back to the basics, so here we go. I have with me a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use a really thick book. Really, honestly, any yoga prop that we use, you can find something to substitute it in your household. And then I also have a blanket, and I assume that everybody in the world has a blanket in their household. You might be weird if you don't, not judging, but I mean, what are you keeping yourself warm with? I don't even know. So to start out, we're going to come into a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for us. So you can be in Sukhasana, or what we call easy pose in yoga, or cross-legged position. You can have your legs extended out in front of you, or you can be kneeling. So coming into whatever position is comfortable for us. Mine, I'm going to come into Sukhasana. So I'm going to take a second and bring in our props here. So if you notice that your knees are here, your knees come above your hips, this is where these beautiful props are going to come into play. So you can take your yoga block, your book, your really thick book. I don't know what else you could use. You might find something, be creative. You're just going to take the block and place it underneath your bum, and then that'll help drop your knees below your hips. And so what that does is it helps you to create the tall spine that we always look for in yoga. It also takes tension out of your low back because your hips are tight, and it's going to cause, it'll start, the more you sit in a cross-legged position, the more your hips will open, but it'll also cause a little bit of tension in your low back. If you don't want to use a block, then you remove that, you don't need it, and you just take a blanket, fold it up pretty thick, and do the same thing. You sit on it, and that'll also help release your knees down a little bit more. So now that we got through that spiel, let's begin. So finding our tall seated position, gonna take a big inhale in through the nose as we draw up a little bit taller, feeling the belly expand on the inhale. On the exhale, we're squeezing the belly towards the spine. As we begin to feel the sit bones grounding, rooting down into the mat. Continuing to bring the deep breathing into the practice as we begin to release our day. And with each one of your exhales, really beginning to feel the body relaxing. As we allow ourselves to grow deeper into the body. Beginning to relax the muscles of the face. Giving ourselves this beautiful practice of moving the body, getting out of our minds. So we take a couple more breaths here to really settle us in. Then on your next inhale, we're going to extend the fingertips up above us. Take the gaze up towards the hands. Exhale, we're going to release the shoulders down the back, really extending through the side body. Awakening every muscle. On your next exhale, we're just going to begin to release the fingertips back down to the knees. We're going to bring them palms face up. as we tuck the chin towards the chest. Relaxing the shoulders as we begin to breathe space into the back of the neck and in between the shoulder blades. Next, big inhale, send the fingertips back up above you as you take the gaze forward. Exhale, once again, raining it down as we tuck the chin towards the chest. So we're still finding that tall spine, beginning to notice if you're leaning forward, still rooting down in the sit bones. Inhale, send it up one more time. Exhale, chin to chest. We're going to take 2 breaths as we hold here. Really relishing in the feeling of the body. Then on your next inhale, extend your fingertips out wide as we take the gaze forward. Exhale, we're going to release our right fingertips down. Left fingertips are going to come up on an inhale. Exhale, we're going to send those fingertips over towards the right as we begin to press that left hip bone down into the mat to really extend the stretch of our left side body from the hip all the way up to the shoulder. Inhale, we're going to bring it back up to center. Exhale, take it over to the left. Inhale, come back through to center. We're going to do that one more time on both sides. Exhale, take it to the right. Maybe we begin to close the eyes, just listening to the video. Inhale, back up through to center. Exhale, we're taking it back over to the left for one more. Inhale, as we come back up through to center on our exhale, we're going to begin to fold forward, coming down over the legs as far as we can go. Just really allowing our bodies to be wherever they're at. And really bringing the focus down onto the hips. As we begin to really relax the hips here, beginning to open them up a little bit more. And on your next exhale, rolling up the spine, we send ourselves back up to that seated position. Take an inhale, we're going to draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, relaxing them away. We're going to take the hands to the knees, pressing the legs together. We want to send the knees in towards our chest. And then we're going to send it into our tabletop position. And then here, if you have your blanket, it'll be perfect. So we're coming to our tabletop position, which means our hands and knees. So if you have any knee troubles, any issues whatsoever, you can take a blanket underneath your knees to pad the knees. Or if you don't have a blanket, you fold each side of your mat up and then place your knees down. So we come to our tabletop position. We want to bring wrist, shoulders, wrist, elbows, shoulders into one long line. Really bringing a soft bend into the elbows. We want to bring the eyes, so this would be the eye, the inside of your elbow, to the front. Spread the fingers wide. Draw the belly button up towards the spine to bring our spine into neutral. Knees underneath the hips. We're going to stay here for one breath. I want you to just really notice the foundation. Keeping the head in line with the spine. We're not letting it droop. Then on your next inhale, we're going to begin to send those right fingertips up above us as high. It doesn't matter how high we get them. Exhale, we're going to thread the needle as we come down underneath that left arm all the way down to the right side of the body. So beginning to open that right shoulder blade up. Still finding our breath here. On your next inhale, pressing into that left hand, we're taking those right fingertips back up above us. Exhale, send it back down into your neutral tabletop. Spread your fingers wide. Finding that belly button towards the spine. We're going to send it to the other side as we inhale, send the left fingertips up. And exhale, thread the needle as we come down. On your next inhale, pressing into that right hand, extending that left hand up. Exhale, we're going to release it down. Then once we release it down, we're going to begin to flow into our cat-cow. So on our inhale, we're going to release belly down, bringing an arch into the back. We're going to take the crown of the head, tailbone reaches up. Exhale, pressing away from the mat, we begin to round the spine, coming into cat. Inhale sends us down into cow. Exhale, rounds us into cat. Beginning to flow through this on our breath as we connect our breath and our movement. Then we also begin to work and warm up the spine for the practice, getting it all yummy and lubricated. I'm going to take this for 2 more rounds. Exhale, beginning to round the spine as we take it up. Inhale, we're going to come back to our neutral spine. Exhale, we're going to tuck our toes here, beginning to send the hips up and back, coming into our downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So beginning to find what I like to call our awkward upside down V. So we want the hands to be about shoulder width apart. Spread those fingers wide. Begin to press into the space between the pointer fingers and thumbs. Really want to strengthen those wrists. Drawing the belly button up towards the spine. So what we tend to do here is droop on the shoulders like we're trying to draw our heart towards the tops of our thighs, which ends up kind of messing up our shoulders. So we want to find activity in this pose as we draw the belly button towards the spine. Relax the shoulders down the back, but still finding activity. Soft bend in the knees. And if we want to, finding some juicy movement, so maybe we begin to pedal the feet out, working into our hamstrings and hips. Eventually bring ourselves to stillness. We're going to take one more breath here, probably feeling it in the shoulders. On your next exhale, take your gaze to the top of the mat. We're going to walk our feet forward into our forward fold. Then once we get our feet forward, we're going to bend the knees very generously, allowing the belly to just lie on top of the mat, on top of the belly. Allowing the head to hang below the heart, relax the arms. On your next inhale, we're going to lift up halfway as we take the hands to the shins, coming up to a neutral spine. Exhale, take the hands back down. Inhale, soft bend in the knees, extend those arms up above you. Exhaling the hands, the heart center, bow the head towards the hands. Honoring ourselves. So we're going to begin to flow into our sun salute A to be specific. As we begin to honor the sun, warming up the body, you begin to use every single one of your major muscles in the body. So this is actually really beautiful. You would normally do this in the mornings because the sun's only up during the day, but you know. Very beautiful practice to really warm and wake up the body. So in our next inhale, we're going to send the fingertips up above us. Exhale, find a slight back bend. Inhale, come back through to center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway, hands back to the shins, neutral spine. Exhale, plant the hands. We're going to take both feet, stepping it back to plank, so bringing the wrists underneath the shoulders, press into the hands, draw the lower belly towards the spine to help take tension out of the low back, finding ourselves in one long line so our butt's not up in the air. On your next exhale, we're going to release the knees down to the mat, bending the elbows in towards our side. We're going to lower down to our belly. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, lifting the head and chest, coming into our low cobra. Exhale, we're going to lower down. Inhale, we're going to press back up to that plank. Exhale, send it back, downward facing dog, one breath. Exhale, take the gaze forward as we walk it forward to forward fold. Inhale, lifts us up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, extending those arms up above us. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhale, send the arms up, finding that back bend. Inhale through to center. Exhale as we fold. Inhale, lifts us up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back to plank. And then option here, for those of us that know all about our vinyasa flow, we can begin to flow. So our vinyasa flow would be, for a beginner, you can release your knees, lower down. Inhale, lifting up into that low cobra. Exhale, lowering down. Or we inhale here in our plank. Exhale, lowering down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale up into up dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. So whatever flow we're taking, we're meeting back in downward facing dog. On your next exhale, walk it forward, back into your forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, extending the arms up above you. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to take one breath here in our Tadasana, so really beginning to ground down in the feet. Drawing up tall here. Then on your next inhale, send those fingertips back up above you. Exhale, we're going to fold. Inhale, coming up halfway. On your exhale, plant the hands, take your left foot. We're going to step it all the way back. Begin to release your left knee down. We can untuck the toes here. Beginning to front our right knee over our right ankle. We're slightly behind it. On your next inhale, we're going to send the fingertips up above us. Take the tailbone down towards the mat. Relax the shoulders away as we come into our little lunge. So really beginning to fill it in the quads here. Drawing the hip bones up towards the shoulder points. Exhale, begin to release the fingertips back down to the mat. We're going to tuck our back toes, lift our back leg. Sending the gaze forward, we're lifting up on the fingertips as we come into our runner's lunge. Plant the hands, step your right foot back, plank pose. And then flowing through your vinyasa, so lowering down to your low cobra, going into up dog, whatever version. Meeting back in downward facing dog. And your next exhale, we're going to take the left foot as we step it forward. If you have to grab a hold of it and place it there, there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to release our right knee down. Untuck the toes. Find that left knee over left ankle. Inhale, rising up into our low lunge. Still finding the breath. Exhale, bring those fingertips down. We plant the hands, tuck the back toes, lift that back leg, coming into your runner's lunge, so the gaze forward. Exhale, we're going to step right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale as we lift up halfway. Exhale as we fold. Inhale, sending those fingertips up above you. Exhaling, hands to heart center. So from here, we're going to work into our Tadasana pose. Most important pose that you'll ever do in yoga. Beautiful for your posture. You do this pose in every single asana pose you do. You might be upside down, or you might be legs apart, or whatever it is. So to start out, we're going to bring our feet hip width apart. So we're going to actually find that according to your body. So we're going to take our right heel toward the left arch. And then from here, we're going to spin out on our right toes. Checking down, make sure all 10 toes are pointed forward. Drawing up tall here, so you want to ground down through your lower half of your body. So we're going to find a little pelvic thrust movement here. So you want to bring the pelvis into neutral to the point that you begin to feel the core activating here. little less of butt squeezing. You're still going to feel the butt squeezing, but you want more core here. So beginning to ground down from the hips down, and then we're going to zip up. So imagine you're wearing a hoodie sweatshirt that zips up, and literally zipping up, send the fingertips down towards your hips, spread them wide. Maybe we close the eyes. Balance challenge is to close the eyes, bring the chin parallel to the mat. Going to take 3 breaths here, really finding that foundation, feeling it in the body. You can find this pose at any point during the day, whether you're seated at a desk, maybe you're just walking around. Take one more breath. Beginning to open the eyes. If we close the eyes, I want you to look forward, finding something in front of you that is not moving, one known as our drishti point, our focal point. Begin to shift all the way into your right foot, really activating that right leg. Begin to activate all of the muscles. We're going to take our left foot, and here you can bring it up to your kickstand. We want to spin that left knee out, or we draw the foot up to the calf. Never bring your foot to your knee. As we come into our tree pose, so hands can stay on the hips. You can send them down towards the hips. Hands can be at heart center. Whatever helps keep you sturdy. Really pressing out to that right foot. On your next inhale, we're going to send the fingertips up above us. Exhale, release the left foot down, come back to your Tadasana. We're going to take 2 more breaths, grounding down for the other side. On your next exhale, shift the weight over into your left foot this time. Activate that left leg. We're spinning right knee out as we send the foot to the ankle, up to the calf. Finding our stability, bringing our hands wherever they feel comfortable to keep us sturdy. On your next inhale, send the fingertips up above you. And exhale, releasing the foot down, release the arms. Bringing a soft bend into the knees, some buoyancy. Inhale, send the fingertips up above you. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sending it up halfway. Exhale, as we fold down, plant your hands. We're going to step it back to our plank pose as we cultivate our strength. We got this. 2 breaths. Exhale, this time we're going to release our knees together as we lower down to the belly. Inhale, head and chest lifts. Take the hands off the mat just to make sure we're using nothing but our low back here in our low cobra. Keep holding here, letting the breath flow you. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, we're going to press up into our tabletop. Exhale, we're going to bring the big toes to touch, sinking it back to a child's pose. So hips back towards the heels. Hands can stay extended. And this is this is actually one of my favorite poses. Beautiful pose to come back to if our body's just not feeling it. Maybe you go to a yoga day, you go to a yoga practice, and you're just not feeling it in your body. This is a beautiful pose to drop down into. Beautiful to drop into if you are losing the breath, to come back to your breath. It is, I mean, it's beautiful for a lot of reasons. So as we sit here, relaxing in our child's pose, we're going to take 2 more breaths. And then on your next exhale, we're going to begin to roll up the spine, come to sit back on the heels, kind of drawing the knees in towards each other. We're going to take 1 round of breath here. On your next inhale, send the fingertips up above you, come in to stand on the knees. Exhale, hands to heart center, step your right foot forward, right knee over right ankle. So we're coming back into that low lunge, hands are out, heart center here. Take one more inhale. On our exhale, we're going to send the hands down to the mat. Next inhale, right fingertips are going to extend up above us as we find a twist, bringing the twist in from the core, extending the right fingertips up. On your next exhale, plant the hand, tucking the back toes, lift that back leg. We're going to bring a little bit of movement into the body. So if you can't do this, this is totally fine. It does not matter. Stop worrying about where you're at and just enjoy the practice. As we begin to switch the feet, so we're going to bring a little hop in. As we bring the left foot forward, right knee releases. If you're doing this in the morning, I just woke you up. Inhale, send the fingertips up above you. Exhale, hands to heart center. We get woke up in this practice. On your next exhale, plant the hands. Next inhale, left fingertips are extending up above us as we find that twist. On your next exhale, send the fingertips back down to the mat. Tucking those back toes, we're going to lift the back leg. We're going to step it back to downward facing dog. So holding here for 3 breaths. You can shake the head a little yes, a little no, releasing tension out of the back of the neck. On your next exhale, begin to release the knees down. We're going to swing the feet out to the side, come down to a seated position, and then from here we want to take left foot forward, right foot's going to come to our inner thigh. Beginning to draw the left toes back towards you, we're going to take our belly button towards our straight leg. Inhale, send the fingertips up above you, finding length. Exhale, beginning to hinge at the hips, we fold down, coming into our Janu Shirshasana, our head to knee pose. So finding a little tuck in the pelvis here to extend ourselves out. So we tend to round really badly in poses like this, especially if we're not super far in it. Just allow your hands to relax. We're not trying to grab the foot and draw ourselves down with as much power as we can. Just relaxing here. On your next exhale, begin to roll up your spine, sending ourselves back up to that seated position. Inhale, we're going to send right fingertips up. Exhale, send them back. And then you're going to begin to press into your right hand, into your right leg. As you shift the hips forward, pressing the hips forward. Exhale, releasing it down. Grab a hold of your left leg, slide her in. Right leg's going to slide out. Taking the foot to the inner thigh, draw right toes back towards you. Belly button turns towards that straight leg. Inhale, we send the fingertips up. And exhale, we fold down, just releasing the hands wherever they go. Allowing the breath to send us deeper into the pose. And your next exhale, begin to roll up the spine. Inhale, left fingertips are going to go up. Exhale, send them back. Inhale, press into the hand, press into that left knee, shift the hips forward. Exhale, take it back down to seated. We're going to extend our left leg in line with our right leg, coming into our stack pose, Dandasana. We can move the fleshy areas out of the way to really ground ourselves down. Hands can come down to our sides. Relax your shoulders. Take 2 breaths. Finding that Tadasana. Still in Tadasana. On your next inhale, send your fingertips forward. Exhale, begin to roll down your back. If we flap down, ain't nothing wrong with flapping down. And once we release ourselves down to our back, we're going to draw our left knee in towards our chest as we hug it in here. We can stay in stillness. Maybe we draw some circles with the ankle. This is a really good pose to do if you have any sciatica problems. Take one more breath. On your next exhale, we're going to slide our right foot in towards our right sit bone. You're going to take your left ankle on top of that right thigh, and then you can stay here with this figure four. Or you're going to take your right foot, keeping the knee bent as we lift it up. Hugging left knee in towards us. Really drawing those toes back. Activate your left foot to protect your knee. Then you can take the hands to the back of that right thigh as we come into our reclined pigeon. Exhale, release the foot, uncross the ankle. Hugging the knee in towards the chest. As we begin to switch the legs here, so we're drawing right knee in towards our chest, left leg is extended. Then on your next exhale, sliding that left foot in towards our sit bone, right ankle on top of that left thigh. We stay here if this is enough stretch on our right hip, or we begin to lift the left foot, drawing the right leg in towards the chest. Exhale, begin to release the foot. We're uncrossing the legs. We want to keep the feet planted down to the mat. On our next inhale, we're going to press into our feet, taking the hips over towards the right. Exhale, releasing the knees over towards the left. We can bring the arms to a goal post. Maybe we extend it out to a T. We can take the gaze over the right shoulder to extend our supine twist. And next exhale, bring the gaze back up to center, draw the knees to center. Inhale, press into the feet, shift the hips over towards the left. Exhale, we're going to release the knees over towards the right. Gaze can go to the left, arms to goal post or to a T. And then on your next exhale, sending the knees back up. And then from here we can extend the legs out, sending the hands down towards our hips. Relax the shoulders away as we begin to release the breath, coming into our Shavasana. And you always have the option here to stay for about 5 minutes or longer. Or if you don't want to come into Shavasana, you can come into a seated position. As you begin to find a meditative, maybe you want to meditate for 5 minutes and seated. Maybe you're afraid if you go into Shavasana, you'll fall asleep, especially if you're doing this in the morning. Or maybe that was enough and you've got stuff to do today. So I thank you so much for coming to practice with me. As the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.